welcome to the Hot Shot Secret Facebook Live, which is now dual streaming on Facebook and YouTube. So we got Chris and Kyle here today, just like normal. Sometimes other people fill in for us, but this is our 55th episode.
Wow.
So a little bit over a year. And what we try to do every Thursday is give you an opportunity to ask us questions, explain the product. It's more about explaining what we do and how it affects you than it is about the products and the other things, but we use these as fillers. So if you have questions or you just want to know something about oil or about fuel or about racing, Kyle's like a racing aficionado. Put the question in here, we'll answer it, or we'll do our best, and we'll see what we can do.
Oil, gas, you name it.
Oil, gas, mechanics, we're a little bit fuzzy, but we do have people that are very mechanical around here. Well, we could hold our own.
RV stuff, he loves RV stuff.
I love RVs. Anything about RVs. Marina, I'm a little bit weak, but
I got a boat. It hasn't been watered in 3 years, but that qualifies me as somewhat marine, right?
Yeah, that does. You've been on a boat, right?
I have been
that counts. I went on a cruise. That puts me in the marine.
There we
market.
go.
So, as always, be sure to like and share our video. We do try to make it informative and educational. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube as well. And what makes it informative and educational is your question. So, put your question in here, ask us, and we'll do our best to answer it. So, today's video, Kyle?
Well, we have, as you can see, everybody's been waiting for, topic of du jour is our LX4. We finally have it bottled, not mass bottling yet, but they are bottling the heck out of it right now. The 32s are ready to go. We're getting the 16s. I think the 4 ounces are bottled. We're just waiting on labels for those. So we're ready to send this stuff, and we're going to scale it up pretty big because we've had a big...
And today we're going to explain the product. We have mentioned test results throughout the last 4 or 5 weeks.
We're going to dive into them.
Yeah, and they were just kind of like in passing. So we didn't have time to really dig into it and explain what HFRR is or 194 versus, 294. So we're going to do that today in a little bit. So, and also if you don't watch live or you know somebody that wants to watch it, pick up the video later on. We do give winners. We give product away at the end of the show, and we give product away to people that watch the video later on.
Speaking of, last week we had some people come and watch the show later, so we wanted to give a shout out to, who is it here? Stephen Gray. So Stephen Gray, thanks for watching our rerun, if you will, from last week. Shoot us a message, and you get a bottle of EDT from last week. So
well, it's not a rerun if it's not run yet.
Well, it's a rerun that you can run anytime you want.
I like to think of it more like Netflix.
Okay.
Because
Netflix, it's always live for you.
Yeah. See, rerun sounds bad, so let's go with the Netflix thing. It's always live for you.
It's in syndication.
It's in syndication. That makes it sound really big. I like it. Now we're talking. This is a syndicated show.
Starting as soon as it ends.
Okay. So let's go on to our announcements. We have a new website that we've been working on for a year now. It's coming up on September 18th, so you'll
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, Levi.
So we're under the crunch. It should be a lot easier to navigate. It's got a lot more information on it, and we're really doubling down on the information and things that we're trying to offer to the public. So we're hoping
it's nice. We're all looking forward to that.
Yeah, it does look good, and it'll be improved over the next 6 months. We'll keep tweaking it until we get just the way we want it. And then, as we mentioned, we're going to be talking about LX4 today, the squeeze bottles.
And this is news, though. It's available online right now, Levi, as we speak.
Both sizes.
Both sizes. Okay, so the 16-ounce squeeze is $14.50. That treats 160 gallons, and that's the squeeze bottle here. And the 32-ounce is $24.50. That treats 320 gallons. It is live right now. You can finally order. We've been talking about it for months. In those 2 sizes, we're ready to take orders.
And we are going to explain to you why this is the best lubricity additive, not just in the country, but in the world that's ever been made. And it truly is, and we'll get into all the details on that. So feel free to ask questions and get ready to really dive into it.
Yep, and for our dealers out there that have been waiting on the product as well, pick up your phone, call your AE. They're in right now. We're ready to start packaging this up and shipping it out so you can get it to your customers as well.
Yeah, this will primarily be a dealer product, so that's where you want to get it, dealer and web. And
Yep.
Speaking of dealers, you want to do some shout-outs.
Let's do some shout-outs.
Shy Diesel.
Shy Diesel, yeah. Terre Haute, Indiana. You just had the big Shy Diesel extravaganza. They got 3 locations, by the way.
And they carry our product at all 3 locations.
Yep.
Stallion High Performance in Belleville, Ohio. right here, right
Yep.
up the road.
Yep.
M&M Repair in Millersburg, and that's in Ohio, also Millersburg, Ohio, and Triple T Plus Repair in Wellston, Oklahoma.
I got some more here. Eco Diesel Dynamics in Cornelius, North Carolina. Best One Tire in Jackson, Tennessee. I believe they got 3 locations that we just started with. Diesel Addiction in Wilmington, North Carolina. And Industrial Power in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So welcome aboard. I know those are a bunch of new dealers. I think Trey Sykes had just brought on down that way.
Thank you, Trey.
And Trey might be joining us later. We'll see. So got a few more here. We've been busy. Signature Auto Group in Crystal Lake, Illinois. Sanger Ace Hardware in Sanger, Texas. R&R Auto and Diesel in Byron, Illinois. J Rod's Diesel Repair in Dallas, Georgia. And JC Whitney Outlet in LaSalle, Illinois. So we're everywhere, man.
We're getting there.
We are everywhere.
And just in case you don't know, our dealers have the ability to get the whole line in. So there's probably 30 to 35 products that we make. Only a few of them are retail appropriate. In other words, you have to move a certain amount of units per month at a retail outlet to make it worth their time. So we have set up a different channel of sales through our dealer network. And that's where we give them a high level of education so they understand it. They understand the difference between TBM Booster and LX4. Walmart's not going to do that, so they don't have either one of those products.
No.
But you get the idea of why we do it. And we do love our dealers, and we really want to give them as much help as we possibly can. So you can see I'm groveling now because we had a diesel podcast this week, and when these things come around, they basically call me out of a meeting and say, there's an interview on the phone for you. Would you step in here and do this? So I just, I left the conference room, go in, and there's a interviewer on the phone, and he asks questions, and I answer them, and it's done, not rapid fire, but it's in a, like, there's no prep, there is no notes, there's nothing. It's just, you're going.
Yep.
So apparently when I said...
Kind of like this. I think I dropped that in front of you and you sat down.
That's correct. Well, I didn't even have this, so I don't even have notes for that. I'm actually just walking around in my office talking on the phone. So anyway, he asked, where can I buy the product? And I said, you can buy it at retailers, and then you can buy it online. And I didn't mention dealers, so I am sorry, dealers. We will do double time to make sure that everybody knows that you're there. And we're starting with that today.
We are. And this is a perfect product for dealers, too. So.
It is. Yeah, the LX4 is really a dealer product. So moving on to...
let's see, TV this week. This weekend we got coming up Saturday at 1 p.m. on Truck U. That's actually on the Motor Trend Network. They have a tech tip on our Diesel Extreme, our fuel additive. And then following that on Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m., there's a brand new premiere episode of Truck U on Motor Trend, and it is a full in-show segment that they are covering our EDT and our FR3.
Mm-hmm. So the difference is, on a tech tip is where they step aside and, like a 30-second commercial almost, where they're saying, hey, we want to tell you about Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme, and then it's one of the hosts of the show will tell you about that. On the in-show feature, it's a little different. We're working on this Ford truck or the Chevy truck, and, while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and treat the fuel because we know that the injectors get clogged up, and we're going to put some FR3 in the engine to see what it does. So it's a little different. On the in-show, they actually work it into the script and into the whole project. And we like those because it gives you a better feel for what's going on than just a little sidestep thing for me. So that's what's going on this weekend. Events this weekend. If you want to look at the questions, I'll go ahead and
No,
give
I
you-
was actually pulling this up because I remembered I asked Eric to throw this up. Last week I didn't have, we were coming off the Shy Diesel Extravaganza. I didn't have all the winners list in, so I kind of read out a few. But so I wanted to update on that because, like I always say, our drivers are really kicking butt out there. So to recap on the Shy results, or I'm sorry, the
Shy Diesel Extravaganza.
these are the current standings he sent me. Gotcha. So in the Pro Mod class, Rawlings Barnes from Rudy's is in first place, running Hot Shots fluids.
Okay.
Larson Miller, running the Save the Racks truck, is in second place. So we got 1 and 2 in that class. In the Hot Shot Secret Pro Street class, Johnny Gilbert, number 1, he's just destroying the field. We talked about how far he's at 280. Next closest is at 125. And shout out to Josh Scruggs. He's sitting in third place there. So we got first and third place there. And then in the Firepunk Diesel Outlaw 590 index class, Rick Fox is sitting there in third place. with Minnie Jackson on top. So we got 2 more events to go. See if we can get him back up there. And in the 670, Landon Miller is sitting in first place, another Fire Punk driver running Hot Shots Fluid. And then in the 770, you've got Ryan Riddle in first place, Hot Shots Fluids. Nick Morris, second place, Hot Shots Fluids. Trey Sykes in third place, Hot Shots Fluids. And then Devin Ratliff is in fifth place. 4 out of the top 5 there, all running our fluids. And they are tied up. It's going to be really tight down the stretch. And then the final class there, the ET bracket, Ryan Riddle again is leading in first place. And then Landon Miller from Fire Punk down there is in second place. So
Okay.
all but one class. We've got the number 1, if not the number 1 and number 2 drivers in the class. So thanks to all you guys out there for just kicking butt, really taking our products to the limit, and
Proving to the world that they are the best of the best.
they are. That's these stats don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
And next event coming up here is the Hardway Sunshine Showdown. That's next week. TJ and I are going to be heading down to sunny Florida. Well, prayers to everybody out in Florida right now that's going through all the hurricane. I hope I think it's all up towards South Carolina and stuff now too. So I hope everybody gets through that great, and hope we can come down there next week and have a good time and get a good race in. So hopefully all that weather's passed, and that's going to be at the Emerald Coast Dragway. Hardway Performance puts on this event, so it is I think the 6th leg of 7. So just 2 races to go after this. We got the Rudy's finale, and the season's over. So
Okay.
we'll see everybody down in Florida. I guess next Thursday we'll be down there already. So maybe
You guys
we'll.
driving?
Yeah, well, we normally fly to Florida. It's like that
I know.
distance. Well, we got the darn race car now.
Okay.
So Trace, we got to deliver a car for Trey Sykes down to Florida, so we have to drive it.
He's so
It's-
spoiled.
He is.
All right.
He is. So, Diesel Podcast, you just kind of mentioned.
Yeah.
Chris appeared on the Diesel Podcast this week. It's a great podcast. I know a lot of people are watching. It's really grown in popularity, and you guys talked about diesel fuel, old and new diesels, common issues. You want to touch on a little bit of that?
Yeah, he was asking questions about what would happen on an old truck versus a new truck as far as additives. What would you look out for? Where would you go? So I just tried to explain the difference between them, the common issues, and how to prevent them. Just some, not just common sense things, but things that need to be known. Like
Right.
if you own a diesel, you need to know this. It's a 30 minutes. If you want to go check it out, I'll pull the link up. You can download it and listen to the podcast. It's pretty in depth on a few subjects, so it was good.
Cool. Can you do that more often?
I don't know. I honestly, we were so tied up with all the other things that were going on. I was literally in the middle of a meeting, and they said,
Hey, get on the phone.
"Yeah, he's on the phone in your office. Can you go?" So I said, "Excuse myself from the meeting." Went and did the podcast.
All right, so you want to catch up on questions before we dive in?
Yes, that's what we need to do before we start talking about our LX4.
Yep.
And this is one very beautiful label and a beautiful
is.
bottle.
Looks good.
Our new bottles, they look really cool.
They really do. I saw them bottling Stiction out there today. Did you see the Stiction in the bottles? It looks so cool. The Stiction, there's something about the Stiction formula in these bottles that makes
Right
it look
here.
crazy. Yeah, but they had it in the 16s out there. You got to see it out in the sunlight. It's really.
See, we need to put LED lights in each bottle.
Uh,
That's your idea, I know.
Waiting 2 years for that. So, questions here. David DC. Oh, man, I was going to practice. DC Saris.
DC Saris.
DC Saris. I think that's it. David DC Saris. Hey, guys, what's up? I'm going to get your name right, David. James Bruce is watching. How you doing, James? David, you were first today. Looks like the whole crew's in here. Ryan Reynolds watching. We just give you a shout out, Ryan. Keep up the good driving. Oh, I got to remember to bring a lab coat to Florida. Come on, Ryan. Let's get you in the winter circle in a lab coat. So I'll see you down there. Wow, it's bottled and I want some. James Bruce, it's live right now. You can place your order right now. It is available. Morning, Michelle Shane. Must be on the west side. Do you guys do shock oil for Fox and or Kings? Those are almost like the compression type, like the.
Shock oil?
Mm-hmm.
Like for shock absorbers?
Yeah, for suspension type. You know, the off-road motorcycles and ATV type of things. I think they're almost like what's the word I'm looking for? Like the piston type.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
this is a different type of oil, though, right? Isn't that more a
we do not. The two hardest oils to make are transmission fluid and shock absorber oil.
really?
And we have not gotten into the shock absorber oil just because it hasn't been an issue for anybody yet.
Huh?
But we can look at it sometime in the future. The problem with those two fluids are you have to perform exactly the same at minus 50 as you do at 150.
Sure.
So, you don't know if that shock absorber oil is going to be run in the desert in Phoenix or is it going to be in Alaska. You don't have a different shock absorber. It's the same shock absorber. And that movement has to happen the same in all climates. It's kind of the same way with transmission fluids. Transmission fluids are really tightly blended for that reason because they have to keep that viscosity perfect
Right.
in all temperatures, which is hard to do with oil. As anybody out there knows, you put oil in a pan and it gets thin. It
Yeah.
just does. Put in a frying pan and the hotter it gets, the thinner it gets. Well, with motor oils, motor oil can be pretty forgiving.
Right.
There's a lot going on in that engine, and it can be pretty forgiving of weights and things like that. But not transmissions and not shock absorbers. They got to be precisely blended.
Well, I'll tell you, who was that? It was Michelle Shane. Let us know about that that application. Is there a challenge with those? Do you find it more difficult in cold climates, warm climates, or if there's an issue there that we might be able to look into, we'd love to do so.
And we are problem specific, so we tried to make products that are very specific for a problem. So if there's a problem in the shock absorber industry that we need to address, let us know. We love good challenges.
Yep.
Aaron does. Aaron
He
and Kevin in
does.
our lab.
Sure do.
Chad Myers. The two best days of boat owner's life is the day to buy and the day you sell it. That's true. I agree.
It's what we hear. I've heard that over and over. I think RVs are the same way.
Michelle Shane saying, I need the LX4. Can't wait to try it. It's available. David says, when is LX4 live on website? Well, it's live right now, David. And Tractor Supply, I don't see. If it ever makes it to retail, that's usually like a 2-year trip to even get anything into retail.
Yeah.
Is it a specific enough product that retail would carry it? I don't know. I wouldn't count on it out of the gate, but we never know. We never thought TBM was going to get picked up by Tractor Supply.
No, we didn't.
So,
They did.
yeah.
So-
So I don't know. If not, no time soon. Let's put it that way. So right now you'll be able to buy it online and at your local independent dealers, where you can go to our website and click find a store, and you can look for independent dealers near you. If you have an independent hot shots dealer near you that's not carrying them, let them know you want it. They can order it and start stocking it. So
Or if you have a dealer near you that you like working with that's not a dealer of ours,
yeah, whoever you take your truck to, or
go in and tell them about our products and say, hey, you need to call Kyle and become a distributor for these products. We're setting up dealers all over the country. So if there's somebody you want to see have the product line, we have displays, banners, stickers. I mean, we take care of our dealers. We make sure they got everything they need to sell the product.
Yep. Give us a call. We'll hook you up. Let's see. Update from David. Performance dose of EDT and regular dose of LX4 net me about 1.4 mile per gallon increase on the 2018 Cummins 6.7 with emissions still equipped. That's great.
That's
What
really
I think I told you last week. That's what Trey Sykes was telling. He's doing a lot of driving down in North Carolina,
1.4.
and he's doing that dosage, that EDT and lubricity.
What was your fuel economy before and after? The 1.4, I'd like to know what the percentage is. That a 5% or a 10%?
Sure.
What's the gain on that? So message that back.
So let us
through
know,
them.
David. Ed Backhand says, which diesel additive can be used for winter additive? Do they all have it, or just one kind used for winter?
There's only one that we make just for winter, and that's our diesel winter anti-gel.
We talked about it last week a little bit.
And everything can be used during the winter, but only one of them is going to keep you from waxing up, and that's the anti-gel. So we take basically our everyday diesel treatment recipe, and we add all the things to it to keep the winter from making your fuel gel up.
Yep. And if you forget, and
There's
it does,
Diesel winter rescue.
we have the Diesel Winter Rescue. So that's going to bail you out. That'll get your gel tank liquefied again. It'll get your fuel filters from being unclogged and get you back on the road. But to prevent that, if you're already running our EDT, We always say this is about the time of year. We're in September
Yeah.
now. It's like,
Yeah, best practices are October 1st, we start using anti-gel.
Yep.
Most diesel, like when we're doing big diesel fleets, October 1st until like March 1st. And the idea is you want to get the anti-gel in there. That prevents the wax. It's called a wax modifier. It prevents the wax from being able to coagulate and get together and then clog your filter. It just keeps it completely separated, covers it in little lubricity additive and keeps it moving around. Now, if you do gel up because you didn't use that, that's what the other product is for, the Winter Rescue. So that's a different way of approaching it, but basically it reliquefies the wax and gets it moving again. So it's the best thing is use the winter anti-gel every time
Yep.
from October 1st on. But if you don't, or you're in a climate where it doesn't freeze very often, which is, Tennessee, it's not.
it's usually those type of middle places that get surprised.
Your
Or
chance-
even late in the season. Once you think spring's here and
Yep.
that late freeze comes through. That's why, like you said, should be like your lug nut wrench.
Yep.
You should always have a bottle of this in the truck throughout the winter, just in case.
It's not terribly expensive, and just to have it in the truck in case is worth it. If
Oh,
you
and
do
to get you out
gel
of a
up.
jam is priceless.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
If you're stuck on the side of the road gelled up,
Not fun.
you are definitely wishing you had it.
Not fun. Keith Wood says your comedy kills me. Wait, we're a comedy duo.
Wait,
now.
what comedy? What? This is everyday life at LSI.
Well, Keith, we're glad you enjoyed. Holly Smith, LX4, my Q5 loves the sauce. Yeah, that's Trey's wife,
Okay.
Holly. So we know those two vehicles have been getting a lot of the sauce. So great to
Hey,
hear,
Holly.
Holly. Thanks.
Have I ever met Holly? I think Trey.
No, you haven't
I've
because
never
you
met-
don't even
only
go to
Trey.
races or anything.
Nah, I don't go to races. Yeah. Sorry.
We'll get you to meet Holly. Holly's a hoot. Ryan Geisford says, "Is the new dealer portal coming then as well?" Not necessarily tied to it. It is going to be a new type of. It's going to be a new way in, but we're still working on totally revamping that. So, give us a little more than 2 weeks on that one.
The backstory on that is we switched, and this is going to take me 60 seconds, but it is kind of interesting. We started moving down the road of a whole new software package in January, which was going to give us a new dealer portal and tie everything together.
Mm-hmm.
And we got 6 months into it, and the company we were working with couldn't make it work, so we had to pull the plug on it and go back to what we had and start fixing everything. So we had a lot of time, a lot of money invested in getting all that put together, and it didn't work. So now we're working on the dealer portal to make it better. But that's why this stall was there. We thought we
Yeah.
had this really good fix coming. They sold us a really good package and said, this is how much better life will be at LSI once you do all this. And then, we said, okay, we'll do it. And we spent months and months and months, Carmen and Levi and Brett, and then they just could not make it work. So we had to pull the plug and
Painfully. But
start over.
That's where we're at. So, Wade Moody is watching.
Hey, Wade.
Wade says stuff works great. Hey Wade, I heard you might have been at the track this past weekend. You need to call me and give me an update. So I hope I'm going to see you next weekend down in Florida. Wade's hopefully making his debut down in Florida. Everyone's looking forward to that.
Okay.
So it's been
Because he'll be
a
first
year in
place
the
then.
waiting. Like we'll see. What's that?
Making his debut because he's never been in Florida.
No, with the new vehicle
Oh.
that he's been secretly working on all year that the whole industry's been waiting to see.
So this will be the big reveal.
Mhm.
All right. All right.
I heard he did a little testing this weekend, but
I should go to Florida just to check all this
come
out.
on down. Come on down. Brian Check is watching. There's my man from USMC Racing. So the old wifey doodle drives a 2013 Highlander. When will you guys make, or do you, oils for cars and SUVs like that? Asked Brian from USMC Racing.
We do.
Do we?
We do. You can use our products, and if you match up the weight of the oil, you can use it in your car, and it would be perfectly fine. Now, what we're doing is getting all the certifications to make it easier to understand. In the gasoline industry, there's the API, American Petroleum Institute, the donut says SN, whatever that's called.
Right.
And then on ours, it would be CG, CK. It moves up one letter each generation, but C stands for combustion engine for diesel. So we do meet we do meet both specifications, but the SN is not listed on there. But we're going to go back and do all of our due diligence to make sure it is. But in the meantime, there would be nothing wrong with using like a 5W40 in a car.
And we also have.
We use them in all of our vehicles, just to give you an idea.
They do.
I mean,
yeah.
there's every vehicle out here just about has our oil in it.
There isn't there some challenge though with the fact that there's a more robust additive package in a diesel oil than in a gasoline generated oil that could potentially challenge a catalytic converter.
Correct, and they want to limit the amount of phosphorus and zinc, but we're not way over that limit, and I think that we do have. I think we'll be okay. I think we're okay now. I just think there's some homework we've got to do and some T's to cross and some I's to dot.
Now, don't be throwing our racing oil in your 2013 Highlander. That zinc package will not be good.
Well, yeah. Let me go back and say, we're talking about blue diamond and green diamond.
Right?
So those are the ones that you'd want to use in a gasoline vehicle or a lawnmower or anything. They're just really good, robust oils. They would work good. They would work very well, even in a 2019 Honda Civic if it was the right weight.
Right.
Now we are expanding that so that we'll have some 0W20 weights, some 030s, and things that
and there's a lot of the 30 weight, the diesel manufacturers switching over 30, so we're bringing that line on as well. So as those 30 weights come on, that opens you up to a lot more of these vehicles as well.
And our goal is to expand the whole line so that we've got something for everybody within the next, I don't know, like by the end of 2020 would be exciting. Know if I just put like Kevin and Aaron on the spot to get that done. But
There
that
you
would
go.
be cool.
Put it down, guys. All right, Mary Pollocks are watching. I never know if that's Don or his wife, but we'll find out later. USMC is next Thursday. You should be at Carolina Motorsports Park. We should be, and let's give a quick plug to USMC Racing. They're a great charity organization that we support that really help out active duty and retired military personnel. They get them behind the wheel of their endurance car, which they now have two. They just got two new vehicles donated to them, so that's twice as many veterans that they can get out. And they are racing next weekend. Their next big race is next weekend down there at the Carolina Motorsports Park in South Carolina. So go down and see them. If you guys are in the area, support them. If you're a veteran or active duty and you want to get some seat time and just kind of hang out with those guys as they do things, here's your next opportunity. They only have so many races per year, but this is a really big one they got coming up next weekend. So go out and support those guys. And Brian, good luck to you guys. Hope you really kick some butt next weekend.
And they're using Hot Shot Secret oils?
They've got adrenaline racing oils in the race cars. They now also have, we're sending out some synchro mesh because we found out that one of them has the manual transmission. So
you need synchro mesh.
That new synchro mesh we got going out. Plus, they've got an RV that just got donated to them as well. And I think Brian tows the rest of the stuff with the 7.3, which is your favorite motor. So yeah, all that stuff they're running. And Brian, I just noticed when I was pulling up his address of the system, he secretly bought a France filter, and I didn't even know about it. So he's putting that on. So now he's going to run Blue Diamond, France filter, the works, Green Diamond in the RV, adrenaline racing oil, gear oil, transmission fluid in all the race cars.
What is the best known endurance race in the world?
Brian answered that question. Probably 24 hours of Le Mans, I guess. What'd you say? Yeah. Levi?
The Le Mans?
24 hours of Le Mans, yeah. Not lemons. Ryan races in the Lemons series. They have a limit on how much you can spend on the car. They're like, I think it's like 5,000 or less or something. Or maybe it's 2,000 or less. So, Le Mans, Cameron, the professional driver we know, Cameron Lawrence, he was one of the 4 drivers in the Rolex 24 Hours. That was a big race as well. So, but yeah, we're finding more and more with the endurance guys because the fact that a lot of our products keep these engines cool.
That's what I'm getting at.
That's where the adrenaline. That's where the endurance goes. If
How do you
keep
drive
it together
for 24 hours without falling asleep?
Well, they usually have multiple drivers, and so they'll come in and pit, and another driver will jump in. We'll swap tires. Another driver jumps in, and we'll take a 4-hour shift or so.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they go all night the next day, and I think they use the bathroom inside their suits.
Really?
What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Let's find out, endurance drivers.
I don't know that I'd want to win a race that bad. Pee in my pants. It's like that doesn't.
Oh, they do. Trust me. All right, we got more. Razmir Avik says, this stuff is best after running EDT in my diesel BMW X5. It improved MPGs and engine is quieter. We
Thank
hear
you.
that a lot.
Yep.
Thanks, Razmir.
You're going to have less wear. It's going to reduce the wear by 50%. You're doing a lot of good things there.
Yep. Christopher Chambers says, I want to know what LX4 is good for. We're going to get to that. Sit tight. Let's get through these answers here, and we will tell you all about that. Christian Bates says, new product, LX4 is out. Josh McCarrick's watching. Hey, Josh, how you doing, bud? I know you've tried this. Josh was trying this in, he was running in like an E85, I think.
In an E85?
E85 fuel
That's
in a race car.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yep.
We're testing it in gas right now.
Yep.
We got some crazy good numbers, so we're not sure what to do yet. But we need more testing.
Keith Wood says, damn, LX4 is here now, and I just placed an order on Monday. I should have waited. Or you can just place another order. Stock up now. We're going to run out of this stuff. So, is LX4 the same thing as was sent in the mystery boxes? Yes, it was.
Yes.
That was what we sent out. So, the mystery's over. Levi posted a link there for you guys can get it. I've tried every anti-gel. Hot Shots is the best. Yep.
Thank you.
We hear that a lot because anti-gels, when you're using an anti-gel that doesn't work, it's a bad day.
Well, and anti-gels are really tricky because fuels are so different. And Kevin Adams, our chemical engineer, spent a lot of time testing different formulas and different mixtures and trying to come up with something that worked better than everybody else's. And that's, as you've all heard me say, and that's our thing here when they bring it to me. It's like, is it better than everything else out there? If it is, then we'll release it. If not, then let's not do it.
Right.
And anti-gels, as you know, didn't come out until I think last year, the year before, and it was a struggle to come up with the best of the best, but they did it.
They did. David D.C. Saris. Yes. He said he was responding back to your question earlier. Was getting empty, no trailer, about 13.9 mile per gallon combined. And when added, the products got empty, no trailer, 15.3 combined to city highway. Towing, he was 8.9, and then right around 9.8, 10.2, depending on the idling time.
So that's 10% increase in fuel economy. That's huge.
That's impressive.
Yeah, because 1.4 on 14 would be 10%, but that's huge.
Yep.
That's really good. So keep posting us back if you're sustaining that increased fuel economy. That's what we want to see, 15.3 across the board. I have, but we always like to verify what we're.
Yeah, it's much better when you guys say it than us.
Right.
So.
But that's huge. Yeah, 10% is a giant number.
Trey Sykes is watching. Glad you could join us. Your wife beat you in. Is he? Okay, so we got him on standby. Kevin Adams is watching. So, and Michelle Shane responded back about the shock. Said, no issues as of yet with my Fox 2.0 shocks, but everyone recommends to use King Shocks oil when rebuilding due to the other shock oil not being as good. Would be a good market to get into, and the off-road community would love a better option. So
Okay.
I guess once they were going to rebuild them, they're choosing to go with a different oil that must be better. Okay.
I didn't even know they rebuilt shocks.
Oh yeah, I got racing shocks on my Jeep, and they're expensive, and so they just rebuild them once they go out.
Really?
Oh yeah,
What wears out? The seal or metal on metal?
it's usually the seal. I think they start to, because mine are adjustable, so I can make them tight or stiff,
Yeah.
or stiff or loose, depending on how hard you want to push. And over time, they just don't hold anymore.
So there's not metal on metal wear.
I think it's the seal. I'm not positive though.
So seal and keeping the seal fresh would be what you'd want.
Right. That's what I'm trying to figure out with the oil part. That's the metal on metal part. So.
Well, the steel, the seal is still scraping up and down the metal side. So the more you do that, the more it probably eventually wears the seal.
And then your leak.
So,
So how does the oil improve it?
well, we know that the FR3 additive reduces wear.
Right.
Now we've checked it on metal, and we've checked it on metal on Teflon for a private company who asked us to do that, and we got good results on both. So maybe we could check it for rubber on metal wear.
Well, and also, haven't we found that Stiction and FR3 can rejuvenate bushings, and
They do.
so maybe if that's in the oil, it could keep the
It does.
bushing lubricated and squeegee better, if you will.
Yeah. So in essence, what happens is certain esters, group 5s, will replenish what's taken out of the rubber.
Right.
The butyl in the rubber just kind of like evaporates or it gets transgressed out of there over time, over years. And that's why you see like an O-ring that's all dried out and checked. It's left, and that's usually when we put an ester in there, it swells it up just a little bit, not a lot. You can swell up a lot if you use too much. Like if you put 20%, it'll swell it up and make it real rubbery and nasty. I've seen it before. It's really weird. But normally, just like at 5%, it does. It just swells it up back to what it was new.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it a good seal rejuvenator. But I'll check and see. We'll look into it. It's a good growth area. We'll look into shock oil and see where the wear points are and what the problem is.
We are not scared of a challenge. Christian Bates says, dealer portal, like dealers can log in and order. This is awesome. Exactly like that, Christian. Our dealers have that capability. We still kind of like the phone call. I'm old school.
Yeah.
But
Well,
if you
we
want to use a portal and hide from us, that's cool. But no, it's whatever makes it easiest for you. USMC Racing says, what I want to know is, am I going to sit in Kyle's seat or Chris's seat? That's right. So
You are sitting in my seat. You get the big chair. Because Kyle will be the one doing the interviewing.
yeah. So Brian's going to be up here at the end of the month. We're going to have Brian in-house to talk about USMC Racing, so stay tuned for that. We'll get to hear about this race he's got going on next weekend, so hope they do well. Ryan says, thank you. Just curious because there's a number...
Are they bringing the car?
No, he's flying in.
Because we would do some drag racing out back.
We got,
I hear that goes on here.
yeah, I do hear that. It's happened. There's some
We just have to-
stripes out there that prove it. too.
We just have to distract the state patrol while we do
Who
it.
stares at us while we do it? Just R&D.
Yeah.
Ryan said, thank you. Just curious because there's numerous products I can't see on the portal. All right, yeah, Ryan, we actually just heard about that today. I got a message on that too. I'll check on that.
They'll be on there. That's an oversight.
Our whole catalog will be on there.
Yeah, that's Levi's fault. Not
Yeah, come
name
on,
any names, but
Levi.
Levi.
Not naming any names, but Levi. Travis Overby says, you guys make a great, awesome product. My 6-liter loves it. Well, great to hear, Travis. Appreciate the
Yep.
support.
Keep using them. You'll love it. Make that 6.0 last forever. They're making a comeback. People love 6.0s now.
Yeah. Dorian Reyna says, what's up, guys? How you doing, Dorian? I hope you're doing well down there. I hope I'll probably see you next weekend. He's a driver of the really sweet Kill 22 truck, so we'll see you next week. And first responders, I always forget USMC Racing. It's not just military, it's first responders as well.
Don't forget them.
I'm not. I did, but I came back.
Good job.
Keith Woods, will you be set up at Island Dragway for the Smoke and Speed event this weekend? No, Keith, we are not going to be there, unfortunately. But send me some info. Maybe we'll look at it for next year. I don't really know much about that one. Brian says Baja 1000 or Le Mans are the two big endurance, which remember we have.
Baja 1000.
We've got the guys out on the West Coast that do the endurance in the buggies, and they've had really good gains on our fluids as well.
Well, it seems like what we do is make things last forever.
Right.
We should be.
I think what the main thing is with the endurance stuff is the reduction in heat, because that's the whole challenge. These things always overheat. You start to lose performance at higher temperatures. When these guys are running, even where Trey was just telling me about a hauler that he's dropped 20 degrees of engine temperature going up these hills and stuff. So it's like, extrapolate that out to a 24-hour race. You're getting so much more performance in the 23rd hour than the other guy who's,
right.
so.
Well, I can explain that on another one, but there's a very specific chemical reason why we get the reduction in temperature. And also what's unique about that product in the FR3, the way we blended that, is the additives stay intact the entire time it's in there. A lot of additives lose their performance after the first so many hours. So, like a Molly, after the first 12 hours, it starts to degrade. You're starting to lose your oomph from it, but that doesn't happen with us. So I'm just thinking that might be a really good place for us to test our products or to prove our products out. The Baja 1000 and the Le Mans.
Yeah, he also says the King of Hammers is super brutal too.
Can hammers?
King of Hammers. I've
King
never
of
heard of that
Hammers.
one.
So I wonder what you need to do to have a car in there. Maybe we'll just get a car and do it.
I don't think it's that easy. So Evan Tracy says, do you guys have any drivers in the Michelin Cup? No, we don't, Evan. But send them our way.
What do you mean it's not that easy? You don't think we can get in the Baja 1000?
Not my budget. That's Levi's budget. Maybe it's our new video department's budget. We can throw it in there.
Can't we take the
See all
Hot Shot
this
Secret
stuff?
truck? What's it gonna cost?
We're not gonna make it too far.
You just get in there and start driving, man.
TJ says they make adult depends, so no worries on using the restroom in the vehicle when on a long endurance race. I guess
Okay.
they just let it go.
Thanks, TJ, and it's kind of creepy that you know that.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing. Working hard over there. Christian Bates, so do you use the LX4 and the EDT together? The LX4 I got in the mystery box has been sitting on my kitchen table due to not being sure how to use it. Hold that thought. We're almost caught up. We're going to get right into it. David says, been using it about 4 tankfuls and without pussyfooting around during between 70 and 80 mile per hour. No trailer consistent miles between 14.7 and 15.3 with idling time. So that's good.
Very good.
Artie Moppin's watching. What's up, Art? Hope to see you guys soon. Yeah, bud, I don't think you're going to make it to Florida, but we'll see you probably at Rudy's. I was telling Chris last week how you runnered up in a flatbed.
Utility truck or something that you found.
Christian Bay says, oh, I don't mind emailing you guys. Just nice to know I can log in to place orders to get products for my customers. Great to hear, Christian. Absolutely. Devin Ratliff is watching. We were just giving you a shout out, Devin. Another one of our superstars out there that is just kicking butt this year. So Michelle Shane says, should look into the Off-Road Expo at Pomona, California, maybe for next year. If you need someone to help with the booth, I will definitely volunteer.
We'll take you up on that.
We'll take you up on that. Like, literally, we will. And Artie says, our Off-Road Extreme pub covers King of the Hammers and Baja, all that. May look into that. Cool, Artie. Hook me up. Out there, they got a few publications with Diesel Army there, so.
Okay. I see the Hot Shot Secret truck. Okay, so let's talk about Lubricity Extreme.
We got to talk about LX4. I mean, we love answering your questions,
Okay.
but man.
Send more questions through. We'll get to it in a minute. So we want to do a deep dive into LX4, or do we want to talk to Trey first?
He's probably going to take it. Is he on there?
Trey, how you doing, buddy?
You have him up, Levi, or is he still on hold? There he is.
There he is.
What's up? You hear? Can you hear us?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
We
Yep.
can hear you.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. We're driving on the outskirts of Hurricane Dorian here.
Oof.
So, you know, in my area, it's not too bad. So, I'm headed north right now, and I'm going to kind of get out of it in a bit. So yeah, farther east in the state, it's going to be rough, or is rough right now. But, yeah, not too bad. Just some rain, so,
Well, stay inland. You're heading the right direction.
yes.
So, Trey, we're running a little bit behind in time because we had so many questions, but today we're talking about LX4, and I wanted to bring you on because you've been putting the LX4 to the test more than pretty much anybody we know out there, and wanted to get your kind of feedback on your thoughts. Here it is.
An excellent product. This is my second sample bottle, and I'm probably 2/3 of the way through it. So I've tried this in a number of things, and one thing I don't know that you guys have talked about is the safe to use in all gas and diesel engines printed on the back of it. We'll get there, but first the diesel specifically. So I don't know if you guys touched on it yet, but I think in the CP4 engines, we're going to have the biggest kind of gains or the biggest help for guys with the CP4 trucks because they're having a lot of issues with the dry fuel.
Okay, give us a quick rundown on CP4 and CP3 in 30 seconds or less.
Absolutely. So CP3s were used on the older style diesel engines and up through about 2011, 2012.
What brand?
And then,
General Motors, right?
sorry.
Cummins
General
too.
Motors
Cummins still
and-
uses them.
Yeah, Cummins still uses them, but Ford and GM switched over to the CP4 in about 2011, 2012.
Okay.
And also the Volkswagens are CP4s, both the 2-liter and the 3-liter. And in the BMW that you own, it is actually a CP3, so CP3. But the CP3 is an older one, but it's actually more durable. The CP4 is newer. It's a little it's less expensive to make, but makes it more vulnerable to wear. And without lubricity, they can have catastrophic failure. And the CP4, the internals of it look more like a roller camshaft than the CP3, which is like a hypoid triangle spinning, perfectly designed
Okay, gotcha. So moving forward on the LX4, you've been using the product. That's bringing the lubricity up
Absolutely. And
to where we need it.
in our Touareg, we've seen on the highway about 2.5 miles per gallon increase. I've been driving that a lot on the highway. We did it the first time when we came back from the Kill Care race, and the last race we came back from, and also as I've been driving around the past 2 weeks. I've let a couple different guys try it that are dealers. Injected diesel up in Wilkesboro, North Carolina, got about 0.6 miles per gallon increase on his F-250 with the 6.7, and he said he wanted a case of that. I've got another dealer in Cornelius that's tried it. He's found about a mile per gallon increase on his.
Where do you think the fuel economy increase is coming from with the lubricity additive?
It's
I
fun,
think
Levi.
the place we're getting fuel economy increase is that we're making the fuel system work less hard. It's easier for the fuel system to
More
run
efficiently.
design. Right. So
Right.
you're taking out all the extra wear, the extra heat on the fuel pump, and so it's the same as anything.
It's fine.
If it's dry and you try and put metal on metal, it creates heat and it makes it work harder. But if it can freely spin without having friction, you're going to make less work for the system, make it more efficient. Also,
Okay.
in the injectors, you're probably getting an advantage somewhere in there as well. So.
Okay. Very good. So just so everybody out there watching knows, we started working on a lubricity additive about a year ago, and the goal was to come up with something that was new, better than everything else, and novel, not just the same lubricity additives that we use and everything else. We wanted something that was truly unique and a top performer, best of the best. We pulled samples from all of the other companies that were offering lubricity additives, and maybe just for a second here, let me step back and say the difference between a lubricity additive and a fully functioning additive, like our EDT.
That's been pros a couple times, so let's clear that up.
Okay, so like everyday
This isn't a new EDT.
correct. So everyday diesel treatment and Diesel Extreme are two of our other products. Diesel Extreme is made with, additives that do just about everything in the system, but the difference is when we're trying to focus on cleaning the fuel system and the injector, we put a lot more detergent in there. So it's made to be a one-time deep clean. Now, when we switched over to the everyday diesel treatment, this was something we wanted you to use in every tank. The idea was instead of affecting the entire fuel system as much, we wanted to affect the fuel itself. So we wanted to chemically alter the fuel so that it would be better than before. Not just better, but way better. So we wanted to put lubricity additive, moisture dispersant, cetane boost, rust and corrosion inhibitors. All those things are in there at different levels, but the idea was we want a product you can use every day. It keeps your fuel system clean. It chemically alters the fuel so that it burns better. You get better fuel economy and more horsepower.
And let's also make the point that the EDT and the Diesel Extreme are fully formulated to the legal limits that we're allowed to put in there. So,
That's right.
like we've always said, if you want to put something else in there, something has to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we wanted to increase the lubricity, we have a lubricity additive in there.
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted to increase that, something would have to come out. So, that's where this product comes in. This is lubricity only.
And we'll give you those numbers just to give you some idea of the scale of where they're at in just a second. So when we went after LX4, the lubricity only product, the idea was, first of all, racers use really dry fuel and they needed help on the gasoline and on the diesel side. So that's kind of the start of it. And then we started looking at all the problems with just lubricity in trucks, especially, like in the CP4s like Trey is talking about. So then we indexed where's everybody at on the market. We're using what's called an HFRR, high frequency reciprocating rig. And this is basically like a very fast moving piece of metal on a disc, and it gives you a scar, and then you measure how big the scar is, and that tells you where the amount of lubricity is, which one's better, which one's worse. So when we got done with our formula, the LX4, we had the best out of anything we could find on the market. Now, when I say that, I mean we did a deep dive. We ordered stuff online from everywhere and indexed it to say Okay, these guys claim they're the number one lubricity additive. How do we compare to them?
You want to cover the numbers?
Sure. Why don't you go through and explain a little bit about the numbers?
Okay, this is actual third-party data here that we had multiple tests done over the process of formulating, and we're going to give you a few different comparisons here. The first test was done on literally pump diesel, your ultra low sulfur pump diesel that you would get at the pump. It ended up being a very good batch of pump diesel, much lower than we're used to. So the baseline was a 363 wear scar, and that's nanometers or
Yeah, nanometers.
micronometer,
Microns.
micronometers,
This is
microns.
Just microns.
There you go.
UM is micron.
So
See, we need a whiteboard here.
I know I thought about whiteboarding
Greg,
today.
we need a whiteboard. Make sure that's in our new studio
I was
that
thinking
we're
about
building.
whiteboard today for you.
Because
I
the
knew
one
you'd
the
think
one
it.
the one thing we got to tell folks before we get
Oh,
too
Levi's
far
got
down
it
here,
up. Great.
the one thing that we need you to understand is when they took the sulfur out of the fuel, the government mandated that the fuel had to meet the 520 micron. So the federal government said, look, we know you're pulling this lubricity out because we pulled the sulfur out, and that was a really good lubricant, but you have to do something to bring it up to 520.
Right.
Now, the equipment manufacturer said, no, we need 460 to be stable. And the government said, yeah, that's not my problem.
Right.
So 520 is the law right now, or the regulation. It's not really a law,
Right, and we're going to get back into that in a minute when we talk about how it comes full circle here.
Yep.
So the pump deal we tested on was at 363. The number one additive on the market,
but advertised for
advertised on the market,
lubricity is
Um,
Optilube.
it's Optilube XL, so we'll say it. They, at a 1 to 1280 dosage, which is like their common standard maintenance dosage, it brought that 363 wear scar down to 354.5. So it's providing a little bit of extra lubricity, a little bit of extra protection. At the 1 to 512 dosage of Optilube XL, which is the double dose, it brought the 363 down to 338.5. So a little added protection there. Where they were saving a little bit more of that metal.
So your wear scar is getting smaller.
Smaller, right. It's cutting away less metals, wearing
Less
less,
wear, correct.
less wear. So, what we did with our formula, our final testing on a 1 to 1280 dosage brought the 363 fuel down to 236.5. I think Levi's got it up right there. So if you guys are following the bottom line there, which is your wear scar diameter at 60 degrees, that's the line you want to look at. The first column is your baseline of the fuel. The second one is the Optilube at 1 to 1280. The third one is Optilube at 1 to 512. So what that is showing you on that fourth column there, that is our 1 to 1280 dosage. At 1 to 1280, we dropped the wear scar down to 236.5 with half the dosage of Optilube XL. With half as much, we brought the wear down considerably more.
So if you're thinking about like performance dose versus maintenance dose, like our maintenance dose beat their performance dose.
Exactly. And that's why,
By a solid 30%.
you know, and to get you guys behind like some marketing, why people say some stuff like this, there's a, like on the front of our LX4 labels here, it says 2 times more lubricity than the leading competitor. Well, when you see stuff like that on bottles and stuff, people always wonder, where do they get that stuff? This is where
This
we
is
get
where
it.
we get it.
This
We
is
do the test.
This is third-party verified right here.
So-
So we're literally twice what they can do with that.
So
Now, we
thi-
didn't stop there. Let me finish the chart here,
go
and then
ahead.
we come back to it.
No, I can't hold back.
So the final column you see there, because like Chris does, he sent them back to the lab, and they're like, but we just killed it. We crushed it. And it's like, see if you can do it any better. They went back to the lab. Our final formula that we're bottling is that fifth column there, and that is the 1 to 512 dosage. It brings that 363 wear scar down to 194.5. That's nuts.
Okay, so what is really phenomenal about that is, not for the everyday driver, because this is great for you, but you don't need that much lubricity. But if you're a racer,
Certainly.
and you put this in at 1 to 512, that has more lubricity than any fuel that you've ever owned in history. So even if you went back to the high sulfur days of 1970,
It's still gonna be.
This is still better than that.
Absolutely.
So this will be the best fuel that you can buy.
Yep. And it's a great upward cylinder lubricant. There are other benefits to it as well.
Well, so far the test results are, we've used it in gas and in diesel, and we have gotten some phenomenal results. I mean, some of them are so phenomenal that we don't even understand where they came from. So we're going back and we're doing some more testing, but to say the least, it's completely lubricating that upper cylinder, giving you a lot of extra slipperiness and keeping the seals tight. So it's just doing a good job all the way around.
I got more science. You want more science?
Sure, but the pumps, I mean, the main thing that, like a diesel owner, the pump is a high pressure pump. It's got extremely close tolerances, and it really wants to scratch things up and wear. And the tolerances inside the injector are tiny. Okay, so you got a piston that's going back and forth 4 times a second or whatever it is, and it's prone to want to wear out. This will keep that from happening.
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I get carried away, man.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah, I get passionate.
We're excited about this. We've been working hard on this.
Lubricity additive, man.
It's
It gets
out,
me
guys.
stoked.
LX4 is out and available. So, okay, so here's what we did after that test. Now we went back and we said, okay, everybody's got different types of fuel out there. We actually went and got some diesel direct from the refinery. Now, Kevin just gave me a rundown before I came out here, and it went in one ear and out the other because it was Kevin like, here's what, I don't know. Basically, the additive packages, even from the refineries, once they start coming down the line, the fuel jobbers start adding stuff, you never know the synergies with all the additive packages. So that's why we went to replicate this test one more time at direct, untreated, unadditized fuel. So I don't know, Levi, if you have this chart or not.
590. So the wear scar on untreated fuel right from the refinery was 590 micron.
That is dry.
That's pretty dry.
That's dry.
That's going to
causing
ruin
a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's going to ruin anything that you put it in.
Yep.
So then we put Optilube XL at the 1 to 1280, and it came down to 440, which is good. I mean, that's within what the equipment manufacturers wanted.
Right. They wanted 460, right?
Correct. They wanted 460.
Correct. So Optilube will get you there.
And then we used the Optilube at 512, which is their performance dose, and that brought it down to 370.
Correct.
But look what Hot Shot Secret did. We were able to bring it down at the maintenance dose.
Once again, at the maintenance dose, we beat the performance dose.
260. 260, and then at the performance level, it was at 250. So the difference between 260 and 250 is so slight. And what happens is you hit a point of diminishing returns.
Right.
You've already lubricated the fuel almost as much as it could possibly be lubricated. So you're not able to get the gain. So even going from 1 to 1280 to 1 to 512, which is twice as much additive, it didn't hardly move the wear scar at all. So at 1 to 1280, that's where you're getting the most bang for your buck. That fuel is going to be extremely, extremely well lubricated. You're going to get all the performance gains, extra fuel economy, and your pumps and your injectors are going to last forever.
They're going to love it.
Yes. So that's the short story, believe it or not.
Want some more science?
Even though that we rambled on for a bit. Sure. What do you got?
I got more science.
Tell me some more, Kyle.
So we did another analysis because, again, like Chris had mentioned, a lot of the racers were coming up to us, and we were hearing these CP4 pumps literally go down the track popping. I mean, the injectors popping, everything. So a lot of people have moved over to a lot of this race fuel, and the race fuel in the diesel world is extremely dry. We keep telling people that you really shouldn't be running it without a lubricity additives. You need to put something in there. So what we did was, what we found out is a lot of people were cutting the race fuel with pump diesel fuel. Now we already know the pump diesel is already pretty dry, but the race fuel is so dry that even regular pump diesel fuel was helping lubricate it a little more.
Okay.
That's how dry it was. So one of our racers, who I will not name because I know he's a supplier of this fuel,
Okay.
but he had been putting in pump diesel to cut it. This is kind of became his best concoction that he thought he was getting good lubricity out of. So Levi, I don't know if you have this just right. You know, I'll just read it. There's only 2 columns to it. So it's just like we had before, but our baseline test was on VP Racing Torx DX fuel with ultra low sulfur diesel added. So pump diesel cut into it. And the wear scar on that was 583. So extremely dry. And this is where the trying to add lubricity to a race fuel becomes challenging. We took that exact same mix that they tested it from, added, I believe it was the 1 to 1280 mix. So we did not test our 1 to 512 540 mix, whatever it is. But even at the standard dosage, we got that wear scar down to 519.
Which that's a 15% decrease in wear.
Exactly. So for you guys that are, I mean, for anybody running a CP4 pump, you need this stuff. But specifically for the racers out there that have these really expensive motors, if you're running that race fuel, you absolutely need to be adding some lubricity to it. It's just a must.
So the next test we should do is we should take just the race fuel on its own and do the 512, 1 to 512 with the LX4.
We can do that.
And then even go 200, because I'm assuming that their preference would be to run straight race fuel. The pump diesel is just for lubricity.
That's all they're trying to do with it, right?
Okay, so if we can make that racing fuel.
And imagine how bad the racing fuel is if it gets there on that.
Well,
So
when it comes to like refinery stuff, the lighter the fuel, the more cetane, the drier.
Correct.
So the top end of that versus the bottom end is what they're fighting. So to get a good race fuel, you're almost going to have to be dry.
right.
So we added
This
the
is
LX.
part of the.
Yep.
So we're putting it back in basically. I did want to touch on one thing real quick, and I don't know if we still is Trey still hanging around?
Trey, are you still here? I'm sorry, we didn't mean to cut you off, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're the one who had the low mic on. Was that right, Greg?
Yeah, we can only hear him.
Okay. Well, yeah. Just a second, Trey. I think you can speak to this. To what Chris said earlier, it's the ASTM standard that sets that lubricity level at 520, or the wear scar at 520. That is something that, like you said, the EMA, which is the Engine Manufacturers Association, they're the ones that say that's too dry. Like you're killing the engines we're building here.
They want 460.
They want it at 460.
Correct.
Now here's the irony. Over in Europe, guess what the spec is?
460.
460. So it's only here in America where we have this spec where ASTM says 520 is good. All the engine builders know it's not.
Well, the ASTM is just a testing organization.
Right. And
So the federal government's the one that said 520.
at 520. Right.
And that's because the oil companies are so powerful, and they were already griping about hitting the 520. They're like, how are we going to do this?
Right.
And, they had to,
And the oil company probably peeled off some bills.
well, I mean, they had to go back to the refineries and not re-engineer the refinery, but change all the settings. So just think about like a big pressure cooker with all these lines coming off. So they had to go back and change all the pressures and the water going in to say, okay, to get this, we have to do this. Now, when they did that, and this was all part of the deal, they said the only way we can get down even to 520 is if you allow us to have up to 1% water in it. So during that refinery process, they had to add more water to get there to strip out the sulfur, which means that your diesel fuel today also has more water in it.
Right. And whole side note, we'll talk about another time in the deep dive. Part of the desulfurization process is what causes the dryness in the fuel.
Mm-hmm.
I just learned that from Kevin on the way in. I was like, too much, tell me later. But and that's what I wanted to bring Trey back up for. So basically, and you guys have probably heard a lot about this GM lawsuit that's going on right now over the 6.6 Duramax, which has been out for quite some time. And basically, the manufacturer knows. The engineers of that motor basically built it for a 460 spec.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have that motor over in Europe, you're not having any problems at all.
Mm-hmm.
Their fuel's already spec'd at 460. Well, all of a sudden, here in America, they start putting 520 fuel in there, and these CP4s are going left and right and having major catastrophic failures. Trey, I remember you were talking about the failure rates of those at some point. Can you touch on that?
Absolutely, yeah. So Europe, Canada, Australia, they're all at 460. On a CP4 engine, they have failure rates at less than 1%. So basically, the only time that something fails is when there's an accident in the manufacturing line. But here, we have failure rates of CP4s with our spec at around 6 to 8%. And that's what's reported. So it's almost like, that doesn't even count guys who went somewhere else and didn't report it through the manufacturer. That's just what's getting reported from the manufacturers when people come in to have them replaced. And when they go,
Oh, you're breaking up there.
Oh,
And we lost Mr. Sykes. Okay. So what Trey was saying is that in the countries that have more lubricity, they have less than 1% failure rate of these pumps. Okay. Other areas in the U.S.,
Well-
we're having 6 to 8%. But this is something to think about. That's just the pump.
sure. Well, let's stay with that for a second, though. Before
Okay.
I know where you're going. Before we go to that, we can solve that.
Yes.
We can solve that because we just showed you the data that brings that fuel down into spec. So you are risking a 6 to 8% failure rate, which we know is higher than that. That's the reported rate. Using LX4 will get you down into that spec, which we know is less than 1%. It solves the problem.
It's half of that. We're in the 200.
Right.
Well, and I'll tell you, this is not to get like carried away here,
Like,
because I could do this
Can you hear me?
easily.
Okay.
But this is the thing that really drives me nuts. If you read your owner's manual, it will say don't use fuel additives.
Right.
So, okay, now you know this pump is going to break unless I put a fuel additive, and then you tell me not to use a fuel additive,
Right.
and then you don't want to pay for the pump when it breaks. So, for those of you out there that we get a lot of calls, will this void my warranty? We will not void your warranty. There's not a product we make that will void your warranty.
And all those that even say we don't recommend using fuel additives, we have the exact same documentation from them saying, well,
Yeah.
it's actually okay. We just
we don't want everybody dumping anything in there because then we have to make it right. So I understand what they're saying, but there should be a better system. So go
and
ahead.
we're actually knocking those out one by one. We're getting the manufacturers
We are.
to actually approve us and say, yeah, their stuff's okay to use. So
We're getting manufacturer buy-in. So Mr. Trey, go ahead. We're sorry.
got you back, Trey.
You're good. So where was that? Yeah. So the 6 to 8% failure rate on those CP4s here in America, that's just what's being reported through people who go back to the dealership and I guess major repair organizations. But if they've had it repaired anywhere else, it's not going to be reported to that statistic. And also, when the CP4 goes, it puts these metal shavings down into the common rail, into the injectors, through all of the fuel lines, back into the fuel tank. So the entire fuel system is saturated with these microscopic metal shavings, and you're never going to clean that out. So
Yep.
when a CP4 goes, it's a $10,000 to $15,000 job, depending on application.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And
And
that's
the fuel
why there's
filters
lawsuits
can't even get the metal out. It's much
Franz
smaller.
would.
The fuel,
We put a
fuel
Franz on
filters-
there.
well,
It's 1 micron.
I was going to bring that
Put it on
up
fuel cell?
because there are people who have designed a catastrophic failure kit for, say, a 6.7, and it's got a much finer filter to get the microns down, so it'll capture those particles whenever they explode. So would the Franz filter be something that they could use on their fuel system on the return line that would be acceptable in case of a failure?
Yeah, you sure can. We have used the Franz filter for fuel. We've done tests before and after, and it cleans it up like crazy. The hardest part that we've always had is finding a way to hook it in there quickly and efficiently. So yes, we use it for fuel. It can be used for fuel. The installation method is still a little not retail ready, so to speak. I mean, not even at the regular Franz filters retail ready, but in terms of making it easy to install, except for the 6.0, which we need to make sure we release that soon. Our new kit for the 6.0. But yeah, we can use those on fuel. We have done demo kits, or let me rephrase this. Research and development has put together a Franz filter with a pump and a solar panel that works out on remote sites, like a backup generator, where
Right.
we dropped it into the tank and it continually draws the fuel up through the Franz filter and dumps it back in so that the fuel's always kept clean. If we can keep the fuel clean, it doesn't oxidize nearly as quickly, and when somebody needs to hit the backup generator, the fuel's ready to go. So we kind of put that in conjunction with our Diesel Extreme and made a little package. Now we need to go back and work on it some more, but that's where we're at on the R&D with it.
Oh, that's awesome. And then one other thing I've found in testing out the LX4, and this is where it comes into play with the gas engines, is I've found that in direct injected applications, it's actually increasing the efficiency of the system. I don't know about power. We are going to have that tested in the next couple weeks. But as far as fuel economy, in a 2014 Audi Q5 with the 3-liter V6 supercharged engine, which is direct injected, which is what I'm driving right now. The best
that what you
fuel
have,
economy
Levi?
I'd ever, Levi, you want one? Anyway,
You
call
just
me
drove
later
silly.
for sale. But the best fuel economy I'd ever gotten on the highway was 26.9 miles per gallon. I had to do some driving on the highway last week, and I put some LX4 in at the dosage. It's a 19.8 gallon tank, so I put 2 ounces in, and I got 31 miles per gallon highway
Wow.
on that 300-mile trip.
Wow.
So the math on that is about 14.8% increase on highway fuel economy. And then I need to do a test with my wife and the way she drives, and let her just drive it the way she drives around town, which is either 100% throttle or 0 throttle, and see if we get any because if it increases with city driving, and someone who drives really aggressive, that'd also be a good thing. And then also I've got a 2019 Golf R lined up to test on the dyno to see if we can get any horsepower gains out of it. So we're going to do some more testing down here. So then I'll report back when that gets done.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
and I think the reason that works is because the direct injected engines, they aren't just like a carbureted or a throttle body or a multi-port fuel injected. It's, they also have a higher pressure fuel pump driven off of the engine. It doesn't get up to like 25,000 PSI like the diesel fuel does in the common rail, but it still gets up to like 160, 180 PSI, and a lift pump can't do that. So there's an additional higher pressure pump driven by the engine in the same theory as the CP4 and CP3. So helping that lubricate better and work better and easier seems to be helping with fuel economy. So there's that.
Okay.
Good
Okay.
stuff.
Very good stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trey, for all you're always full of insight and knowledge. Maybe you should just
Try
come
to
up and
be.
do the show every week. Give me a break.
Well, I mean, I think I could work that in. I think I could do it. If you really need me to, I'll do it.
All right. That's what we like.
Yeah.
man. Is there any more questions that we need to answer?
We do. Gotta let you go, Trey. Appreciate all the
All right.
info.
Thank
Any
you,
shout outs
guys.
before you go?
Want to give a shout out to all of my new dealers. Wow, do I have time for all of my new ones?
We gave a lot of shout outs to some of your dealers today. Eco Diesel, Dynamics, Best One Tire, Diesel Addiction, Industrial Power. We mentioned that earlier.
Yep, I've also got some new guys like just came on. We've got Jay-Z Trucking in Maxton, North Carolina. I've got Josh Graber, J.A. Graber Trucking. He's in, where is he at? He's in the middle of nowhere, Amish country, Indiana. And I've also got, where am I? Oh, can't tell you that one. That's where I'm on the way to. We're going to get them finished up today.
Oh, I know
So,
what you're talking
tell you
about.
that next week.
That'll be good
tell you
news
that
for next
next
week.
Yep. So,
All right, brother, drive safe, and I'll see you next week. We'll coming down to Florida. You'll be back in the BMW. Hopefully, get that in the winter circle at the ODS event. So,
yeah, we're gonna. I hear that we're gonna have some really decent track prep, and the BMW with all its torque can actually get some traction down there. So I'm looking forward to that.
all good. I'll see you there next week,
Okay.
brother.
See you. Thanks. Bye.
All right, Trey.
Okay.
So,
Let's wrap up any questions and then we'll get.
yeah, we
rolling.
still got a big audience, so I do at least want to address their questions here. We have, hey, joined in late. Wyatt Mitchell says, so is it like EDT but stronger? We kind of touched on that different
Just
product.
lubricity. Lubricity would be a lot stronger, but the other stuff isn't in there, like rust and corrosion inhibitors and the other things. When we're balancing a package, we have to decide what do you want to put in, what do you want to take out. And this was made just for lubricity. EDT's made to be a full functioning package, 7-in-1 or 6-in-1.
And we're finding that they work well in conjunction.
They do. You can put both in there if you want.
That's what Trey's been doing
Yeah.
on his other car too. So, Christopher Chambers says the product runs amazing on tow trucks, stop and go traffic, heavy loads, and high idea time.
Idle?
I'm guessing that's idle. Yep. Randy Jensen says use several products in my compound turbo 06 Cummins, 250,000 miles. So an 06 Cummins will have a CP3 in it. So
Good for you.
Holly Smith says can't hear online. I think those guys helped out with that. We had a bad sound there for a second. Keith Woods, NATRS is hosting the event at Island Dragway. Also have an event, he's responding earlier, in ADCO. They have a great turnout in Maple Grove this year, so you should check it out. Thanks, Keith. If you don't mind, private message those to us, and we'll check them out, and maybe we can join or see them next year. Art Moppin says, I beat that guy. I think he's referring to Trey.
Trey, you have got to get back and win the title back, buddy.
James Bruce says, just wait. I'm going to surprise you guys with an appearance sometime. You won't know when you win, so watch your backs. I'll be coming in hot with unicorn power. Be prepared.
All right.
All right, James.
We'll look over our shoulder.
James,
Unicorn.
we'd love to have you on set one day. Come on in. We'd love anybody. We always say anybody wants to come
Yeah.
by. We love having people stop
Yeah,
by.
stop by. We'll put you on Thursday at 1:30.
Yep. Brian Fidazzo's on. Says best products period. Using my 335D, my Duramax truck, and my jet ski. Oh,
Nice.
jet ski. I mean, little small motors, yeah. Still need to get my hands on a banner. Says Michelle Shane. Well, we can arrange that too. Christopher Chambers asks again, can you mix LX4 and EDT together?
Yes.
You can. I mean, I wouldn't mix them, would you?
Yeah, I would. And this is why.
I
think
don't know. The dosage is different, though. You're going to mess with your dosage.
just keep up with your dosage that you're going for. Now, there's something to think about. I have to kind of go back and do some real hard thinking, but EDT was made to chemically alter the fuel to burn better.
Right.
LX4 is designed to treat metal surfaces and make them slipperier. So I wonder if why we're seeing the mileage gains is that we're treating the cylinder wall and making the piston slide up and down easier.
As an upper cylinder lubricant.
Yes, and making the pumps act more
Efficiently.
efficiently. So when like Trey was saying that he got gains when he mixed them together, it could be that you're getting the best of both worlds there.
No, he was getting gains just on the LX4 in a gas-powered supercharged V6.
No, well that would make sense too. Yeah,
That's the crazy part to me. So what Chris is saying is, on the diesel side, when we know that we're treating the bad diesel fuel and helping the system out, we know that's the gain. On the gasoline side of things, just pouring that into gasoline, we're not really improving gasoline very much. It already is an efficient burning, highly refined product. So we're actually finding gains on a gasoline motor
Could
for
be on-
making the system run more efficiently.
Well, it could be that the metal surfaces inside the cylinder wall, the rings, you're getting a better seal, you're sliding better up and down, and you're getting more fuel economy. That could very well be because they do act in two different ways. Again,
They do.
that's not EDT, but
You
if
got some right there.
if that was EDT, so the everyday diesel treatment is made to, in the simplest terms, the stuff that comes out of your tailpipe is black smoke. We're burning it up in the combustion chamber, creating a BTU, creating power with it. So now you have less emissions, more power, because we've chemically altered the fuel. LX4, we're lubricating everything inside the system so that it's slipperier. So they're kind of working in different actions there. They might work great together. We'll keep you posted as we find
We
out
will.
more.
John Glaive says, hi. Christopher Chambers, the squeeze bottles, the top neck needs to be longer. Please, my rollbacks use a funnel to put it in my tank. Yeah, we know. As we talked about, these new bottles we just designed, we extended the necks on them. These are we call them, they've already got the stamp, the die.
Yeah, we do not own the patent on these.
Nope.
We have to buy these from somebody else, and somebody else does have all this patented. So what we'll do is take your suggestion, and we will look at creating a bottle ourselves and see how we can make that work. It's possible. We might be able to do that. All these other ones we've made dies for,
Yep.
and we do create all of our own bottles, except for the squeeze bottle because those are owned by other people.
Yeah. We'd love to. If we can figure it out, we will. Let's see. Sunny Broadway. Fluid Amper says science with a bunch of exclamation points.
That's us, powered by science.
That's right. Rainey Jensen says badass. Love the product. Stuff sounds awesome. Sean Tripley, I'd like to test with EDT with LX4. Give it a go. It's available. Chris Chambers says I need this for my CP3 and 4. Yep.
Yes.
Chris Bates, so it sounds like I should for sure be using an LX4 on my husband's Dodge with the VP44. It's a VP44.
Probably VP Racing Fuel.
Oh, well,
I would say anybody that runs a diesel engine should run the very minimal, the EDT,
right.
because that's going to give you the baseline of lubricity and everything else. If you're prone to having a problem like the CP4 or something else, then jump over to the Lubricity Extreme.
Yep. Tate Asher says, love the Skype interview, even though the feed died. Oh, we got him back on. Hope you keep watching there. Isaac Feathers, top fan badge, says, let's do some testing with FR3 for dirt bikes and four-wheelers with wet clutches. Want to try it out so bad. TJ actually responded to him, said, Isaac, I have a guy in Arkansas that's using FR3 in wet clutch and says he has ran it 2,000 miles and it runs better now than it did before.
Yeah.
We don't really recommend it on the wet clutches, though, do we? Yeah. But it's all, I think that's what Isaac's saying. It's like, let's get it going, let's try it. Because we've been asked that question a lot.
We've used it in wet clutches and we've seen good results. We have not done enough
To
testing
comfortably.
to say using the wet clutch, because there may be some factor in there that we're not taking into account. Like in our application, it wasn't there and it's in somebody else's. But as far as we know, it's perfectly safe. It's worked fine. Nobody has ever said it doesn't work.
Right.
In our own applications where we've used it, we've seen gains. So
He says, about to change the oil on his bike, and I'm going to add a splash. So let us know, Isaac. He said he's going to do an oil sample on my bike with the oil in it now and put fresh oil and add FR3, then ride the dunes again and test that oil and see how well it helps. We love those before-after testing, Isaac. So
take good records and report back to us so we can add it
give us
to
a
our-
call. We'll help you out with that and make sure you get documented well. TJ chimed in, LX4 will be great for the CP4 pumps and the Power Strokes and Duramaxes. Yep. I'll be back in my home state of Ohio soon and like to swing by and see you. Isaac, please do.
Yeah, we're
Please
right
do.
off 71.
We're literally
and
right off
95.
71. Like, we can see I-71. So if you're going up central Ohio, we're about 30 miles north of Columbus. So just stop
Swing
and
in.
see us. Michelle Shane Johnson says, the EDT made my fast pump run quieter. That's a fast fuel pump. The LX4 will probably make a difference in noise as well. Will any of the France filters for a fast? If you're talking about the fast fuel systems, the filter's different.
Yeah, I don't know if now FAST has a lot of different ways to set up. If you have the one that's like basically the vacuum pump pulling the air bubbles out,
Right.
then the France filter can be added on afterwards to clean out the dirt. But FAST also makes a 1 micron or 2 micron or some low micron filter that goes in line with the FAST. So I don't know if you got both pieces of that.
Okay. They cleared this up earlier. The VP44 is the fuel pump on an older Cummins before the CP3 days. That I don't know about. I don't know about those pumps. We'll have to look into them. So how would you or should you adjust the dosage to use both the EDT and LX4 together? To answer that question, either keep them separate and follow the dosage instructions, or you want to mix them properly, because your EDT is going to be 1 ounce per 25 gallons for a standard dose, and your LX4 is 1 ounce to 10 gallons.
I would just treat separately.
Treat separately, or
Treat.
the math would be 2.5 times LX4 to EDT.
Okay.
And then you'd have an even, and you can just do it by the gallon. All right, almost caught up here. There we go. There, Isaac says thank you. That's it. We caught up.
All right.
Please stop by, Isaac. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you by. So, is there anything we missed? I know there's a bunch of stuff in here. I didn't even look at it. I'm pretty sure
We got everything.
we got everything in there.
We did. So
I didn't hear about pintle scoring and where. What's pintle scoring and where?
we should give some product away.
We need to give some product away. How about some LX4?
LX4. Let's give a couple balls for LX4
All right.
away.
How about Keith Woods and Razmir Avik and Ed Backhand, or Bachand, if I'm saying that wrong. Why don't you guys give us a message on our message account on Facebook? Let us know or where you like to be shipped. You will be the proud owners of some LX4. For the rest of you that were not selected, it's available right now on the website. You can get it. And remember, if you're watching this video later, go ahead and chime in. I know we're probably going to get a lot of questions since it's a new product. And next week, we'll give somebody some LX4 from this week.
Yep. And
On
we're-
our syndicated show here.
on our syndicate show, and put your questions, keep your questions coming. Next week we'll try to recap and go back over, because I know this was a new subject for everybody. Well, maybe not new, but this was a new way of approaching it.
Right. And we really do appreciate the feedback and all the questions about everything. I mean, we've got homework. We're going to look into shock pumps, shock pump oil, and all
and the
this stuff.
Baja
So
1000.
this
King
is
of
why we really
Hammers.
like this forum. It allows us to not just interact a one-way street. It's a two-way
That's where we
street.
get all our good ideas.
That's right.
I mean, you guys.
We've got
give us
everybody
a good-
fooled,
yeah,
Like we just sit back and wait for you guys every week to set our
right.
game plan.
That's right. Okay. Well, you guys have a great afternoon, and we will see you next Thursday. Until then, oh man, we don't have any good.
How about Gabrelchik out.
Gabrelchik out doesn't do it. Moving it right day and night, I still like that.
Jay's
It's
Bruce.
stuck in my brain now.
There you go.
All right, we'll come up with something. Give us some ideas on how to sign out. I need something better than Big Country Out because TJ's he's killing me with that. I need something better. All right. Until
Thanks,
then,
guys.
We'll see you.
See you next week.